Have you ever stopped to think about what's actually going on inside your phone when you snap a picture? It feels so simple, but it's not. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the incredible science that makes your smartphone camera work. Okay, let's get into it.
So let's just start with a number, a truly mind-boggling number, 1.2 trillion. That's roughly how many photos we're all taking every single year with our smartphones. I mean, just think about that for a second. That is a huge number of moments being captured, and it really drives home how central this tech has become in our lives.
You know, behind every single one of those trillion photos, there's this incredible dance of physics and computation that happens in a split second. So the real question is, how does it all actually work? Well, let's break it down. First things first, it's really important to get that your phone's camera isn't just one single thing. Nope, it's actually the grand finale of a super complex, interconnected system where every little part has a very specific job to do. Okay, so it all kicks off with your finger tapping the screen. That one touch sends a lightning-fast signal to the phone's brain. That's the CPU, which immediately says, okay, time to launch the camera app. The CPU then wakes up the camera hardware, which captures the light, creates the image, and saves it to storage. And all of that, it happens in literally the blink of an eye. It's incredible.
And what's really fascinating, I think, is how much this whole system looks like, well, us, our own biology. The phone's CPU, that's just like our brain's problem-solving center. The RAM, it's basically short-term memory. And the wires carrying all those signals, they're just like our own nervous system. It's this wild parallel between our tech and nature itself.
And you know, that parallel gets even clearer, even stronger, when we zoom in on the camera itself and stack it up against its biological twin, the human eye. They're both trying to solve the exact same problem, how to capture light, and they do it in ways that are remarkably similar.
So in your eye, you've got the iris. It's the gatekeeper for light. When it's super bright out, it shrinks to let less light in. And when it's dark, it opens right up to let more light in. It's what helps you see clearly in all kinds of different lighting.
Now, a camera does pretty much the same job, but it uses something called an electronic shutter. Think of it as a digital gate that the phone's CPU controls with pinpoint precision, opening and closing for just the right amount of time to manage exactly how much light is allowed to hit the sensor.
So once light gets past the iris in your eye, it smacks into the retina at the very back. Now, the retina is this huge grid made up of millions and millions of light-sensitive cells. Their job is to grab those photons of light and turn them into electrical signals for your brain to figure out.
And the camera's version of the retina? That's the image sensor. It's also a grid. But instead of cells, it's covered in millions of microscopic light-sensitive squares that we all know as pixels. So when you hear that a camera is 16 megapixels, it just means it has 16 million of these tiny little light catchers.
Okay, this is where it gets really cool. Let's zoom in even more, like way down to just a single pixel. How in the world does one of these microscopic squares actually see light?
Well, every single pixel has a tiny circuit inside it called a photodiode. And the easiest way to think about a photodiode is just picture a microscopic solar panel. Its one and only job is to convert light energy into electrical energy.
So here's the quick and dirty on how it works. First, a particle of light, a photon, slams into the photodiode. That photon has enough energy to knock an electron loose from an atom. Then, an internal electric field steps in and separates them, so the electron can't just snap back. This flow of freed electrons creates a tiny electric current, which the phone can measure. It's simple, really. The brighter the light, the stronger the current.
Okay, so now we get how a pixel sees brightness. But that only gives us a black and white picture. How does the camera capture this vibrant, colorful world we live in?
And once again, the answer is hiding right inside the human eye. Our retinas have 3 different kinds of color-detecting cells, and they're called cones. We have one type that's sensitive to red light, one for green, and one for blue. Our brain takes the signals from these 3 types of cones and just mixes them together to create every single color we can possibly see.
You know, it's kind of like cooking a soup. You start with a few basic ingredients, in this case, red, green, and blue light, and by just mixing them in different amounts, you can create this almost infinite variety of complex flavors, or, in our case, colors.
And guess what? Your camera's image sensor copies this biological recipe perfectly. Each tiny little pixel on that sensor is covered with a microscopic color filter. It's either red, green, or blue. This means each pixel can only measure the brightness of that one color of light. Then, the phone's processor gathers all that info and puts it back together to create a full color picture.
So all of this leads to a much bigger, much more fundamental question. Why? Why red, green, and blue? Why did billion-dollar cameras and millions of years of evolution both land on the exact same three colors?
I mean, think about it. The full light spectrum is massive. It's got everything from radio waves all the way to X-rays. So why are our eyes, and by extension our cameras, so perfectly tuned to this one tiny little sliver of it, and specifically to red, green, and blue?
The answer is right here, and it's awesome. It all comes down to the sun. This chart shows the light the sun blasts out into space. But after that light punches through the Earth's atmosphere, this is what actually reaches the surface. You can see it clear as day. The most intense, most abundant light that washes over our planet falls right into those red, green, and blue wavelengths.
So it's not a coincidence at all. It's just physics. Life on Earth evolved to see the light that was most available. And then, when we came along and built our cameras, we basically just reverse-engineered the whole process. We designed them to capture the world in the exact same way our own eyes evolved to see it.
And that leaves us with one last, really cool detail that shows just how deep this connection goes. If you were to look at a camera sensor's color filter array up close, you'd notice it's not an even split. Most of them actually use twice as many green pixels as red or blue ones. So why would they do that? Well, it turns out our own eyes evolved to be most sensitive to green light. It's just a perfect little reminder that even inside our most advanced tech, we're still seeing the world through a template that nature designed for us millions of years ago.